And we're live here as well, everybody. Welcome. There's a whole lot of echo. There's a whole lot of excitement. You might want to mute your phone, Austin. You might want to turn your phone down. And I'm going to turn my phone down as well.
There we go.
Yeah, we're going to get rid of a whole lot of stuff. Hello, Steve Tamayo. Also taking a little work break to come hang out with us. Welcome, everybody, in to honestly one of my favorite things that we do here. We talk to you. We just kind of open the floor and say, hey, let it fly. We'll take some funny questions. We've already got a banger of a question in here from Connie Letts, which we'll save up. That's a tease because we're trying to get her to stay around. And also, I think everybody else needs to kind of hear. And let me pull up Bay Hope here on the old interwebs. Bay Hope Church right there. Cool. Austin, how's your day been? But by the way, we're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on another Facebook platform. We are live on Discord. What else am I missing? Website?
Facebook, YouTube, Discord, Instagram, other Facebook location.
So somebody says, have you had any pizza lately, Austin? Denarbus.
I haven't. Let's see. The good pizza I've had.
He didn't say good.
No,
they
I
didn't
really
say
haven't.
good. They just said, have you had pizza lately?
Have I had pizza lately? No,
Yeah.
I haven't. I think
Why?
the last time I've had pizza was, I don't know, 2 weeks ago.
Why haven't you had pizza? Like, what are you doing?
I mean, Easter happened.
So you're not allowed to celebrate Easter with pizza?
I wish I could. I mean, we already had other food plans, and I don't know. I usually have a routine that I stick to with food, and pizza is not in the routine. So
I'm hearing excuses. Well, you heard it here first. Dinar Bass, he doesn't like pizza anymore. Thanks everybody for joining us on Instagram as well. So the way this Q&A is going to work is literally just do in the doodly doos. He had a double stack. Connie says absolutely. Oh, somebody from Facebook says best pizza in Tampa. That's a good question. We'll hold on to that one. So the way this is going to work is literally type your question into chat wherever you are. If you are on Instagram, put it in the thing. If you're on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, put it in the doodly doos. And Steve says, what's a double stack? I feel like we need to kind of clear that up as well. We'll get there in uno momento, por favor. Let me get through some of the ground rules. If you are on Discord, you can jump into our Q&A time channel. And Connie already answered it. The double cheeseburger from Wendy's. Yes, Dave is apparently obsessed with the double stack. So
double
much so
Dave,
that
that's his nickname.
Yeah, so much so that it's like harming his arteries. So Steve, we want you to live. Or Dave, we want you to live. Steve, we want you to live too. But Dave, we want you to live. Throw your question into the old chat box, and we will get to it. Austin, first question first. What do you have in the old cup? CRH Sports. Good evening from Ariel. Hey, Ariel. Good to see you. What are you drinking? Just water?
Just water, always.
Okay. I have my LaCroix with bitters because I'm an old man.
I was gonna ask, what like you seem like you've crossed that threshold there, drinking LaCroix on a regular basis.
What threshold are we talking? I wasn't talking about the LaCroix. LaCroix is a predominantly hipster drink.
Okay.
And I'm not a hipster. Well, maybe I'm not. Denarbest says Jersey Jim's on Instagram. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's a Jersey Jim and I go way back. So thanks for joining us, Jersey Jim. Glad you're here.
Jersey Jim, is he from Jersey? They?
Yes. Yeah, and he does do pizza reviews. So
really?
Yes.
So who asked what was the best pizza in Tampa? What did I miss here?
I don't know. I couldn't see that.
Okay.
Let's see.
Somebody asked what the best pizza. My partner and I are here. Hello, Facebook user. I need to log into the other platform to see what's going on. That's cool. So best pizza in Tampa, go.
He does do pizza reviews. So
really,
best pizza in Tampa. Man, Domino's.
I'm just
I'm just kidding.
Hipsters. CRH Sports says hipsters never admit to being a hipster. Well,
no, I would say the best pizza in Tampa. Oh, man. Oh, I like what's that? Anthony's coal-fired pizza.
That's Chris Stevens said best pizza in Tampa. Anthony's is not bad.
Oh, okay.
Chris, what's your answer here? Anthony's coal-fired pizza. Anthony's is not bad.
Yeah.
I'm Marco's. Yeah. Connie says Marco's. Marco's is good.
Okay.
So there's a little place up by where I live called Brick Oven Pizza.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, the Cappy's is real good. Steve says Cappy's in the chat. I think. Tell me 3 things about LaCroix, says Denarbest. Okay, tell me the 3 things about LaCroix. Number 1, it's water. Number 2, it's bubbly. Number 3, it has a hint. It has an essence of taste, so much so that I don't know if you remember the Zeitgeist a couple of years ago where it was just LaCroix memes all over the place. Chris Stevens says Lido's all day. I can go with Lido's, yeah. I can jive with that. LaCroix is essentially ghost water. It's like water that has a ghost of a fruit living in it, which is fine because I want to kill all fruits. So mine right now is not hot take. Fruit's the worst. My water right now has lemon, a ghost of a lemon in it. LaCroix is like if somebody had water. Thank you. You give a better review than Austin does. Thanks, Denarbus. Where do you live, Andy? We'll get to Ellie in just a sec. Thanks for chiming in here, Ellie. DCP character performer video account. Awesome. We'll have to give you a follow too. Where's I going? LaCroix. LaCroix is like if somebody had bubbly water and in the next room over somebody was shouting lemon, lemon, and that's what your water tastes like. If somebody's just shouting a fruit, have it. I like it. I drink I drink 1 or 2 every day because I'm a sucker. And then towards the end of the evening, I put what's called bitters in there because I like to flavor it up. Connie in the chat is begging for tickets for Taylor Swift. I don't know how well that's going to play right now.
I mean, they sold out within 3 minutes?
Oh, sure. I would. I mean, I know that we have somebody that is on our staff that is going to tomorrow's show. Mr. David Alonso is taking his wife. Nice. Congrats, David, if you are watching or when you are watching. Are y'all Swifties? I am not a Swiftie. My daughter is. That's not true. Taylor Swift had 2 really good songs from the 1981, whatever that album was that had Shake It Off and the other
83,
one.
85?
Whatever, dude. There was 2 good songs on there. Other than that, she's fine. Are you a Swiftie? Austin?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Sorry. I just it's not my style.
That's true.
It's too poppy.
You're too poppy.
It's true. Thanks. Ouch.
Let's go to the question from Ellie, DCP character performer video account. Where do you live, Andy? Do you live in Tampa or somewhere else? I live in the great state of Odessa. I live in Odessa, Pasco County. Austin, where do you live?
I live in Carrollwood. I live about 10 minutes from the Lakeshore campus. It's great.
Austin's favorite is light jazz. Man, Connie Let's rolling out the haymakers towards Austin tonight.
Hey, I would be getting this in small group usually. So thank you, Connie, for making small group.
Herbs Design on Instagram. Herbs Design Instagram. Hello, Spencer. Says Andy listens to All Too Well 10-minute version every morning. Hey man, pumps me up. What are you gonna do? I like getting pumped up. Ryan Adams' cover of 1989 is pretty remarkable. Shows something in her lyrics. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, hey, yeah, Rachel. Thank you so much, Andy, and hi, Austin. Actually, Rachel, the one you chatted with a couple of years ago, but Ellie was an old nickname that I went by for 2 years and just haven't changed it back yet. Haha. Hello, Rachel. Thanks for joining us again on YouTube. I think Rachel joined us this last Sunday too, right?
I think so. I can't remember that far back. My memory's going.
Oh man, here's another haymaker in the chat right now. Who is better? Hold on, let me pull it up. Man, Facebook, get off of here. Chris Steven in the chat says, who's better, Eagles or Creedence Clearwater Revival? There is one correct answer, Austin. And if you don't give me the correct answer, I'm going to boot you from the stream. Go.
Eagles.
Okay, bye. It was nice knowing you.
I don't know. I didn't know that.
Creedence Clearwater Revival. Yes, Donna, we can see your comments, Donna. Creedence Clearwater Revival is the best choice. Outside of that one song, Hotel California, Creedence was just way more punk rock. Chris, that one's for you. Thanks for joining. So let's get to yet another question. And by the way, if you do have questions, throw them in the chat. Like I said, we will be answering them as we come up. So let's take it just a little bit more in depth. First and foremost, Austin, what, like in terms of community and things like that, what are you seeing right now happening in the Bay Hope community? A couple of weeks, hold on. Rachel says, sorry, Ellie, but Rachel. Also, I live near Carrollwood, near that one mosque, I think. Yeah, Mid-Florida, Oak Grove, UMC, and etc. Yep, my phone is being really rude right now. Yeah, I know exactly where you are. We're not going to dox you. Denarbus on Instagram says, Austin, come see our band perform in May. What's your band's name? We'll give them a shout out. And hey, Laura everyone, I made it. My parents were trying to connect it to the TV as well. We're on Facebook as well, so if you want to jump in over there. Denarbus, give your band a shout out on Instagram, and we'll big it up. Let's go into community stuff. So what are you seeing in community right now? What are you seeing the main kind of big strokes happening where you live in terms of digital?
Like what we got going on?
Yeah.
We got quite a bit going on. Yeah, well, we got a great place to connect is through our monthly, I guess, community gatherings. This night being one of them. So if you're here, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining if you're watching on Instagram. Also, we have community groups that meet every week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So if you're interested in that, we'd love to have you come and be part of our community groups. In addition to that, we do stuff on Discord, which is awesome. If you haven't used Discord before, Discord is a super cool platform. Kind of a, what would you call it? Like messaging platform? I don't know the exact.
I would call it an all-in-one community hub. It's got kind of instant messaging. It's got, you can share funny GIFs or GIFs, however you want to pronounce it. If you want to pronounce it the wrong way, it's a chat platform. It's a place to do Bible studies. It's a place to turn your cameras and hang out. It's a place to turn your microphones and hang out. It's a place to chat. It's a place to do everything that you want on there. So that's what we do. We're hanging out on Discord right now. And if you're hearing any little bit of an echo, by the way, on any one of the 5 platforms that we're streaming to, sorry, we're sussing out some of the sound issues. Everything was fine, and then I added Discord into the mix, and then all of a sudden there was like a weird echo. GIFs, okay, hot. Here's a question: GIF or GIF? Everybody in the chat, GIF or GIF?
So there's 2 schools of thought.
No, there's not. There's one right answer. But go ahead.
What is it? It's
hello, Matt Hotho.
I prefer GIF. But I know it's GIF because it's graphical
interchange format.
What's the? Yeah, there it is. I prefer GIF. I think it's better. That's how I say it. I'm usually wrong though, so I'm open to that.
You heard it here first, folks. I'm usually wrong. Live from Austin Slade. That is fantastic. Donna in the chat says, what do you think about the weird weather, number one? Number two, when can we play Pictionary again? Let's address number one. The weird weather has been oddly weird. It has been hurricane. It feels like hurricane force winds. It's really just tropical storm force winds. And I don't know. What do you think about the wind?
I haven't. It hasn't been out of the ordinary to me. I just think it's unusually hot. But the wind, like, it hasn't really struck me.
Congrats. Steve Tamayo in the chat says, Steve Wilhite came up with the name and calls it GIF. I know, but he's wrong. It's graphical interchange
Thank you, Steve.
format.
Thank you, Steve.
Second question, when can we play Pictionary again? Yeah, so Donna, I think next month, is that what we decided? Next month for community night? We're going to be playing game night. So we'll end up playing, not Pictionary, what was it called?
It's called Scribble.
Yeah,
it's
Scribble.io.
It's basically Pictionary online. It's in a web browser.
Yeah. So we'll play Scribble.io at that point. It's going to be a ton of fun. Techies rule, Austin to the curb, says Connie. I agree. And Rachel says, I'm always wrong too. Hashtag humble and aware for God and Jesus together, LOL. That's a mighty hashtag you got there. I appreciate that. So, but shouldn't the creator get to have a say in how the thing is pronounced? God told Adam, go and name these things whatever you want. God, the creator, said to Adam, the created, go and name all of the other things that I created. Thereby releasing it into the wild. Let's try a Jesus juke. Thereby releasing it into the wild, and Jesus came 3,000 years later.
I like that phrase, Jesus juke. That's a good one, Steve. I like that. I appreciate that.
Rachel asks, is it at Bay Hope Lakeshore or at Bay Hope West Chase, or is it online? Oh, pick the game night. It'll be right here online. We play, it's a fully connectable version. We'll end up, thank you, Steve. I'll bow. We end up just logging into either Zoom or we'll probably play it on Discord this time around. We'll open up a Discord room. You can turn your camera on if you want. You don't have to. You can turn your microphone on if you want. You don't have to. And then we play with a separate service called Scribble.io. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. We take care of all of the stuff, and we play music, and we hang out, and Donna does really bad but laughs the whole time. It's really fun. Mood. I'm a proud to lose too. Maybe.
Well, and if you just want to come hang out and just like watch us make fools of ourselves, that's good too. You don't necessarily have to play.
Yeah, we're really good at making fools of ourselves.
We are really good at that.
Yeah. So we had a good time last time. Actually, the last time we did game night, we did trivia night.
Yeah, that was
cool.
dominated.
I dominated trivia night. That was great.
Yeah. Okay, we get it. We get it.
Yeah, when you come up against, my acerbic wit, that's a word that nobody knows. Just got to watch out. Let's get to Connie's question. We're going to talk about creation science. And as we talk about this for just a minute here, I want to join and be with you all, so I'm here for it. Cool. It will literally be like 3.5 weeks or 4 weeks from now. So you'll be getting a whole lot of information about it, Rachel, how to join, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Invite your friends. It's dope. I think we can hold up to 20 people in a room, and then if we need to open another room, we'll open another room. It's a ton of fun.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a total good problem to have. Again, on Instagram, Hello Live, we're hosting a Q&A. Because I can't put any headers there. If you have any questions, want to ask us anything, I'm Pastor Andy. That's Austin. Pop it into the old chatty poos, and we will let you know. Let's go to creation science. So, first things first, do you know what creation science actually is?
Yeah, it's the isn't it the idea that it's just, I guess, God created things, right? And it's trying to explain what that means.
Well, yes, it is trying to get to the bottom of what creation is. Hey, Mads is here. Hello, Mads. Good to see you. Can I get Mads to join? I don't think I can get 3 people to join. Dang it, I can't. Well, maybe. Wait, can I? Hold on. Invite to join. I just invited Mads to join. Let's see what happens.
Let's see if it works.
Oh, she declined. What? Really? It says you declined, Madeline. This was your big moment. I'm working.
I'm not an intern anymore.
I'm working, she says. Oh, okay. Just wanted to say hi. Hello, Mads. We gave you your shot. Donna says, Pastor Andy, sorry about your vehicle. Yeah, I'll tell that story in a second. So yeah, Connie asked in the chat, creation explained in a scientific way. Yes, it absolutely is that. So I actually have been delving into creation science. The book, what was it? The genealogical evidence for Adam and Eve or whatever it was that I was talking about.
Oh, by Swami Das.
Yeah, Joseph Swami Das. Brilliant book, fantastic. Actually changed my view of creation and evolution. Single-handedly changed my view of creation and evolution. And I mean, we don't need to get into it. It's not heretical. It's not anything like that. But there are certain aspects to what he was saying that were incredibly scientific. There was a couple of little leaps of faith you have to make, but honestly, there's less leaps of faith in what this guy was positing and putting out there than other ways of thinking about things. For example, evolution. Like evolution on its core with the missing link and everything, you do have to take a couple of leaps to faith. Daniel Bissell says, I love you, Austin, in the chat. Oh, that's so sweet.
Oh, hey, Dan. Good to see you.
That's so cute. So, your thoughts then on creation science. Connie, what are we missing? Or Dave, what are we missing here? Go ahead, Austin.
I think, so actually, growing up, I was always taught that, like, hey, God created heaven and earth in 7 literal 24-hour days. However, when I started to get into seminary and I really started to understand how Hebrew literature works, the specific, I guess, the way in which the significance of what numbers meant in that context. I guess you could say the Bible among other creation stories. It makes a lot of sense to see it as a work of literary art. And I've heard the argument that, okay, the word day used, it always, except for like 2 places, it refers to a literal 24-hour day. But my view has shifted to seeing it from, I guess that's not the point of Genesis 1. I think it's a point that we have read into Genesis 1 and that we've staked a huge amount of, I guess, weight or importance on. But really, it's when you read Genesis 1 in its original context and looking at how Genesis 1 specifically came about, how it's connected to the rest of Genesis, it's very much, it's showing how God is bringing order out of chaos in a variety of different ways. For example, days 1 through 3 are paralleled with days 4, 5, and 6. Yep. So, and the common repetition is that God creates something and he fills it. And that's the whole point, is that God is the author of life and God is the author of creation. I don't think that the writer, whether it be Moses or another scribe, I don't think whoever wrote Genesis had that in mind as like the key issue. I think the key issue is the overarching idea of God created heaven and earth. Yep. That Yahweh, the specific God, he is the author of life itself, not anybody else. He didn't use secondary means. He created it out of nothing. That is I think the main point. Whereas other creation stories, they say that it was created out of a former mass that was just there, or it's created from pre-existing material. And I think the big kicker for me is realizing, number 1, the context, number 2, how Hebrew literature works, and number 3, like actually reading the story as it was meant to be read. In that case, I would say that a lot of like what Swami Das, a lot of what he suggests in that book about the genealogical Adam and Eve, it draws on a lot of scientific research that has come about, and I think that's okay. So it's not like science or faith; it can be a both and. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's so Connie says her husband Dave says that creation science, and really I think where Dave is going is that the hard facts about creation that are revealed in the creation science movement have or allowed him to seat his faith. And it says his beliefs in God and Jesus and many others. Steve Tamayo follows up and says, many ancient narratives have creation happening as an accident rather as an intentional act of craft. Yeah, and I think that's the point of creation science. So I know there's a lot of kind of, I'm not going to get into right-leaning or left-leaning or anything like that, but traditionally liberal church movements reject creation science because they favor an interpretation of poetic affluence to God, and not like an accident that God intentionally created, but they move into eras and epics and all the things. And I'm not here to hash out the 7 days thing, because I am not about, hey, from the Tom Mann crew. The Tom Mann crew lives. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us again on Instagram. Hello, everybody. If you have any questions that you want us numbskulls to answer, throw it in the chat. We'd love to talk about that. Back to the creation science thing real quick. So the Swamidass book, where Swamidass argues for, it's called The Genealogical Something or Other with Adam and Eve. I can't remember the full name right now. It reads like a textbook. It is, it's a rough read if you're not used to reading like analytical literature from a dude who definitely is not a writer, who definitely is a scientist. That being said, the book blew me away because, again, I'm not necessarily a creation scientist, but I believe that God literally created the earth. Like, it wasn't just a accident and then, oh, hey, God put everything in order. Like, I'm not a deist like that, and I don't think Austin is either. I know Austin's not either. Nope. We are creationist people. Like, we believe in the creation. And there's the Swamidass book talks about the fact that there could have been people outside of the garden, and there probably was people outside of the garden. And then he starts to trace all of the genealogical things, and it's a genealogical record more than a genetic record. And he actually proves as to why we can probably never have a genetic record going anything farther back than 4 or 5 generations before us. And there's a whole lot of reasons for that, and he gets into it. And like, if you're interested, I can either send you a copy of the book. Like, I will gladly give you mine. That's all marked up. It's one of those books that I'm going to end up buying like 3 or 4 times. Carl Hess in the chat says, "Hi, Austin." Carl,
hey, Carl.
Kari?
Good to see you.
It is Carl.
Carl, yeah.
So all that being said, like, it's a fascinating book, and I highly recommend it. Any other questions? What am I missing here in the chat? Am I not following up on anything? Austin, you got any questions you want to ask? Ask me, ask the audience.
No, I'd love to hear a little bit about, I guess, how, like, the genealogical Adam and Eve, the fact that, like, hey, we can't trace the genealogy back past 4 or 5 generations. I'd love to hear a little bit about, like, I guess where you where you started and how it changed your belief, and like we know where you are now, which is great. What did you grow up believing? How did that book shift it? Like, specifics. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I grew up believing a staunchly traditional view, 7-day creation, and that Adam and Eve were the first humans. Like, every other human being descended from Adam and Eve. And what I'm going to say, I still need you to keep in mind that I still believe that Adam and Eve were the very first sentient, sort of saved, God's chosen people. That being said, there is a case to be made for people being outside of the garden. Not people, but most likely like some, we can call them Neanderthals or whatever, just because that's the modern thing. And I'm not saying like cavemen or anything like that. But if we look at the creation narrative, it's anywhere between 8,000 and 10,000 years ago, right? Well, 7,000 to 9,000 years ago-ish. Like, that's young Earth creationists, which is what Methodists are, which is what I am, which is what you are. I would assume that's what you are. Roughly 7,000 to 9,000 years. So that's biblical. There is scientific evidence that shows migratory patterns and building patterns and all sorts of stuff happening that shows right between 8,000 and 10,000 years ago, humans, so people, communal groups of people, stopped being hunter-gatherers and started living in societies.
Yep.
So they gave up the hunter-gatherer. We're migrating to follow the birds and the fish and the seasons and all that, and started congregating and farming and becoming more of an agrarian society, which is fascinating because there's a whole lot of stuff that spins out of that. That's where civilization comes from. If you don't have people that are not nomadic people, you don't have civilization, right? You don't have things like the Tower of Babel. You don't have Uz. You don't have You don't have anything like that if you got people that are just wandering around the desert.
Yeah.
So, I am of the belief that God created Adam, and out of Adam created Eve. And he had created a certain, like, this was the human that was formed in his image. The people living outside of the garden, were they of a lesser image? Did they have will? I don't know. I haven't gone down that path yet. Did they have free will and all these other things? Are we related to Adam and Eve or no? Yes, we are, Donna. We are all related to Adam and Eve. Everything comes back to them. It's called a single origin genesis. I don't know. The genealogical record says that we are all related to Adam and Eve. The genetic record we cannot possibly read, because within 4 or 5 generations of when we die, there is a theory that beer helped kids die. Actually, that is a true statement. A theory that beer helped start civilization. Hello on Instagram, everybody joining us in. Mike Mage just joined us. Party Pete just joined in. Tu and Elizabeth joined in. If you have any questions, put them in the doodly-doos, especially about beer starting a civilization. Thanks for that, Ariel. I would love to have that conversation. Actually, I've heard that theory before. But all that to say, like, we can have this longer conversation. This is not a time to have like a deep theological conversation, and keeps my husband beer heat keeps Dave continuing in civilization. Dave, this bud's for you. So all that to say, like yes, we all come from Adam and Eve. The thought process is then that God bestowed His image upon Adam and Eve, and that is how we became redeemed, and then that is how we became His creation, but also where redemption comes through. And there are a number of other things, like, okay, Adam and Eve get kicked out of the garden, and they have a son. Son's name's Cain. They have another son. Son's named Abel. Cain kills Abel. All of a sudden, like, Cain is married. Where'd the wife come from? And where did all the other people come from? And then it says that Cain has to go live east, right? Like east of Eden. He gets kicked out of wherever they're living, and now he has to go east. And he says, well, I'm gonna go to somebody else and die. Like, so there's other people. So we're acknowledging that there's other people on the face of the earth at that point, because God then says, like, no, I'm going to place a mark upon your forehead that nobody's going to be allowed to kill you. So we're acknowledging the fact that there are at least other beings that resemble humans. Doesn't have to necessarily be the saved, sort of God's chosen people. We're saying that there are people. Cool. Because then Cain says, okay, fine. So he wanders, and then he goes and builds a city. You don't build a city with just a husband and a wife. You build a city with other groups of people, right? So we're again acknowledging that there's other people, but we don't know what happened after the 7th day, right? Lisa says that in the chat. We don't know what happened after the 7th day. I mean, we do. We don't know immediately what happened after the 7th day, and this is going to come into your.
I think that's where she was going.
Yeah, like on the 8th day, what happened? Like, is that when they were wandering on the garden? Did they wander around the garden for hundreds of years? We don't know. We do not know. There's a gap there. And even if you are a literal 7-day creationist, or you are an age and era and all that other stuff, as far as all the other people, Lisa, that is absolutely correct. But we are also told that the only people that Adam and Eve had begot at that point were Cain and Abel, right? There's no mention of daughters. There's no mention of anything like that. And I mean, yes, there is a case that could be made that they didn't value women in that society, and so they did not talk about women. But if we are proclaiming that Moses is the writer of Genesis, I'm not saying he is, but if we're saying that Moses is the writer of Genesis, Moses knows the value of women. Women populate his story all over the place. Women essentially created a modicum of Noah's Ark and placed Moses, it's called an ark, placed Moses in a thing that resembles what brought God's thing. That was a woman. Another woman picks up Moses. Another woman takes care of Moses. When Moses and the entire Israelite nation, they scatter from, the Exodus happens. Red Sea parts, they go through, Red Sea crashes back down, chariots, and everybody dies, and Pharaoh dies, and everybody drowns. Well, Pharaoh doesn't die, but everybody drowns, and there's just all sorts of chaos and everything. They get to the other side of the Red Sea, and what happens? They sing a song. And the song is not just sung by Moses, but the song is also sung by Miriam, who is Moses' sister-in-law, Aaron's wife. So Moses knows the value of women. So my contention would be, if we're saying that, if we're holding to conventional, whatever, Moses knows the value of women, and yet there are no women mentioned as daughters from Adam and Eve. That's a pretty important, tidbit there. Yeah. I keep cutting.
Well, I think it's no. I think it's fascinating, and you've obviously had more experience with this. I mean, I'm in my second year of seminary, so I don't have the years of studying that you do. But I think it's fascinating, and I think it's important as well to the big kick I'm on, and what I get really, really passionate about is Near Eastern context. I think it's vital that we read the Bible, we read Scripture as a unified story, number one. Number two, we read it through the eyes of the context in which it was written, right? And I think to assert that, to make that assertion and say, hey, we have to read it in the context in which it was written. Number one, it makes it more fun because it actually forces us to think and to actually go and research and pull from different disciplines and ideas to help form one bigger picture. But number two, it helps us to view, yes, these neat facets, these intricate questions as part of the overall story, right? And it's backing out into that bigger picture and saying, what's the big point, right? A lot of people, I think, get bogged down. I mean, I did for a long time. I get bogged down in the minutia of things, the minute details that confuse me, and I don't have the answers to them. But really, what's really helped me is to back it up and to see, I guess, the point. And that the point is that God is the author of life, that we are made in his image, and that makes each and every one of us a person of intrinsic value and worth. And it also shows us God's, I guess, his care for and his continued sustaining of all creation, right? Against what we were talking about earlier, the deistic idea, the idea that God creates poof and then backs away and lets it go. It's no. As Christians, we don't believe that. I mean, there's a branch of Christianity that does, sure, but as I would say, the majority of Protestant Christians, we
call
believe,
it out. Don't do it.
No, thanks.
Keep going.
And Dave said, just to kind of pick up, what Dave loves about Christianity is that all of our questions, thoughts, and reasonings will be revealed to us when we get to heaven. I'm willing to wait, but love these conversations. Exactly. And these conversations, they need to be picked when they're placed within their narrative context, when they're placed within, when we read it with Near Eastern eyes, so to speak. It becomes clear that we don't have to have all the answers, but we can be content in God's presence, right?
Amen.
That God does care for us. And that's what in my mind, and again, you can call me out on this if I've kind of gone off track or strayed away from what we were talking about, but in my mind, it helps me to read Scripture in a clearer picture, right? Knowing the big story and how the minute pieces, though we may not have all the answers, fit into that big story.
I agree, young man. In the so why did Eve eat the forbidden fruit? Why not Adam? I mean, yeah. I don't know.
The text doesn't tell us.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I would assume that there was a temptation. I don't know. I would assume it's because women are way smarter than men, and there was an actual logical thing put out there. I think the enemy was just trying to screw with like, let's see if I can get one over on the smart one, and he did. And I also think there was an element of like, if they if the enemy had swayed Adam and Adam had eaten the apple or the fruit, or we're going to call it a fruit, had eaten the fruit, I think Adam would have had a tough time convincing Eve to eat the fruit, honestly, because women are much more intelligent than men. Men are real good at just like, okay, you want me to charge a hill? I'll go charge a hill. Where like that's what we do. So we're very single-minded, and women are very much not single-minded and very much more intelligent than men, and emotionally can really challenge a man. And I'm sure that the reciprocal was not in place. So the enemy had understood what he was doing, and that's why we are in this situation where sickness and pain and war and all that. And why were women made from men? That's a great question. I have never understood that, other than I think it's the extra rib thing. I don't actually know. That's one of the, that's reference to like, hey, that's one of those questions that like, I'm going to ask God. I got a lot of them. I got a lot of, like, why mosquitoes? Why do they exist? Why cancer? Like, why? I understand cancer is a result of a fallen world, but like, man, cancer. And then Adam was being obedient to Eve, like we men have been doing all this time. That was my point. Exactly. Adam was being obedient to Eve. It was a yes. Mm-hmm. It was the first yes dear in all of history. And that's why we are.
Way to tie it in.
I'm married. We got a couple more minutes here before we're going to start closing up shop. So if you have any last questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. This has been a lot of fun. I love Q&A times. I love just opening up the cameras and just hanging out with a bunch of people. Adam to me is the quintessential idiot. I'm sure he was very intelligent, but not a lot is said about him and his mental state, other than like that dude just named animals. And so he spent a lot of his time just naming like, oh, elephant, oh, hawk, oh, deer, oh, what's that? Antelope? Got it. And whatever the Hebrew word was for at the time.
Yeah, I want to. What do you think? I guess what is the craziest name for an animal that doesn't fit its description? Ooh. In your humble opinion, you know what I'm asking? What you look at it and you're like, nah, there could have been like, I'm not sure about that one.
Oh, mongoose.
No,
it's not a goose.
No, it's not a goose. What is it? For me, it's It's the capybara.
Oh, capybara is good. That's a good one.
I don't like. I look at that, and I mean, if you want to see what a capybara is, go Google it. It's like it's like a oversized beaver mixed with a hamster.
Yeah.
And
they're ugly.
It's just they're real ugly. Yeah, they're not. Connie said platypus, which
platypus
that was
good.
I was going there, but like the flat beak, I think, the flat, was it flat bill tail?
The duck-billed platypus.
Yeah, I can only think of the one from Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, well, that's a duck-billed platypus.
Which is,
yeah. It looks like a beaver tail.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
No, but capybara, still no reason. I don't know. We could have done something a lot better with that one.
That's a good one. Rachel in the chat, blowing up, yes, amen. What God tells us, tells that we aren't supposed to 100% know or understand in this lifetime, we will know when we get to heaven, and when he returns through Jesus. Jesus even promises that whatever we don't know in this life, all of our questions will be answered, thankfully, and that he allows us to come ask the Father all of our questions, and he will sit with us and answer all of our questions as we listen to him. And we may not always agree on the little things yet to be revealed, but as long as we love one another, love and worship Jesus and God and his Holy Spirit, and agree on the big things, the little things don't matter. One day we'll all agree on them. Amen. Amen to that, Rachel. / Ellie. Yeah. Steve says, I'd vote for duck. They're vicious creatures. Duck your head around them and bad things will happen to you. Vicious. Well, I agree. If we're going to go with most evil creatures, I'm going to go with squirrels. Squirrels are They're just absolute squirrels and armadillos. Like if you find an armadillo that's not getting hit by a car, it's probably mauling you. But the squirrel, I'm gonna ask God, like, what did you do to piss a squirrel off? Because man, that thing is angry all the time. It just lives angry. And like I remember I had squirrels, especially in places that feed them. Yeah, that's the point. Stop. Look at me, Instagram. Stop feeding squirrels. Look at me everywhere else. Stop feeding the squirrels. They're worse than raccoons, and when you don't feed them, they throw things at you. I used to have to, in 8th grade, I used to walk to school, and on my path, took me under a whole bunch of trees, and there were squirrels that lived in there. And I would routinely get pelted by bits of shells and nut things because these squirrels were angry that I just happened to be walking underneath their habitat. Dude, I'm a human. Like, I will eat you if I can see you. Sorry.
Dude, so you said something about that in Sunday school on Sunday.
Yeah, Lisa
on Easter Sunday.
Lisa and her crew said seagulls. Yeah, they're pretty bad. Just flying rats.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So you said something about squirrels and how they're of the enemy. And my mom, she loves squirrels. They live in a house. My mom and my stepdad. It gets better. It gets better. It gets better. So we're at Easter lunch, late lunch. And I'm telling her, I'm like, she was talking about how she feeds the squirrels and how they're God's gift to her. Yeah, she's got the shelled peanuts, she's got the little like table, she's got like the squirrels are set up over there. And she was and I said, hey, actually, you should go back and watch the online service from this morning. And because Andy said squirrels are of the enemy. And she was sitting next to me and she just stops and goes, what?
I made an enemy. I made a mortal enemy in Laurel Slade that day.
Yeah. And she said, that's not good.
That's not gonna fly.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's not gonna fly. You tell him that they are God's gift to us.
They carry rabies. What do you mean? God's gift. They carry rabies.
I'm gonna send this to her, and I cannot wait. She said she was gonna send you an email. She was gonna send you and Matthew, because Matthew mentioned it in his sermon on Easter, the second sermon he did on Sunday. And she said she was gonna email you and say,
Laurel,
and complain.
Listen to me. Hi, Laurel. I think you are one of my favorite people.
Nice.
I admire everything you have done. I have read literally all of your books. I have them in my office. Your son is a wonderful creation. You have done amazing things.
Waiting for the butt.
But
there it is.
Squirrels are vicious, despicable. Man, despicable's a rough word. Vicious, rabies-filled, disgusting creatures that only want to claw your soul out if it has peanuts in there. I admire you feeding such vicious, evil creatures, maybe trying to tame them. I admire it. Okay? So we will agree to disagree on this one. Thank you.
There you go.
And good night.
Good sandwich method there. Praise.
Rachel. Oh, Laura Lee says they carry fleas into your yard. Yes,
they do.
They carry fleas. I have dogs, and granted, my dogs have flea treatment. But like, why do I want to bring another flea bag into my yard? Huh?
Got it. Flea bags. That's what we call them. Flea bags. I'm gonna use that.
All right, we should probably end this stream before I get in more trouble with your mom. Anybody else have any other questions before we leave? Connie said she wanted to kill all the golfers, but then corrected it to say gophers, so I think that's great. Donna asked what a numbskull was. A numbskull is just kind of an idiot. Numbskull is just a funny way of saying idiot. Dave said Connie's mom have over 100 squirrel figurines in their summer home.
100? Over 100. Think about that. Think about, like, look at any room you're in right now and think about just 100 squirrel figurines. That's got to take up at least, I don't know, half of my room. Like, my room's not very big.
Ellie slash Rachel asked, do you not like flying squirrels too, or just regular squirrels? Flying squirrels, I don't consider squirrels. I consider them like chinchillas without furry tails, so they're fine. Flying squirrels are great. Little sugar gliders, like those things are just the coolest little things ever.
Would you have a sugar glider?
No, I never had them. Friends had them. You have a guinea pig, right?
Oh, I didn't tell you.
Wait, what?
She passed away.
Buddy, when?
A couple weeks ago. That's why I was a little sad when I walked in the office one morning.
Dude, you didn't tell me that. What?
I know. I
What
processed
happened?
it. She had plenty of food. She had plenty of water. Cage was clean. I walked in and she was stiff.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
This is not the way I wanted to end the video, but
Rip.
I've processed it. I've made my peace with it. It's okay. I'm okay. But yeah.
Rip,
Hamsters don't usually live very long, so she was dead in the dead center of the average. So, it's okay.
I'm sorry, buddy. Let's get back on squirrels real quick. Steve chimed in the chat and said maybe she, meaning Laurel, is luring them in, lulling them into a sense of safety, gathering them around her in case there's an issue with the food supply. That is a smart idea. In case there's a zombie apocalypse, she can eat all the squirrels.
You see, that's what that's what my stepdad actually thinks. He goes, "Hey, if we ever have to hunt for our food, we gotta lay up here. We gotta lay up, so to speak."
I mean, yeah, but why would you want to eat rabid meat like that? Rabid, gross, disgusting. You can't cook rabies out of meat. It's already like pit. I mean, you can, I guess, but whatever. Donna said, "Do pets go to heaven?" That's a varied and rough and wild question, and do you want me to give you the heartbreaking answer or the answer that you want to hear?
Oh, heartbreaking.
So the heartbreaking answer is there are going to be animals in heaven. Lots of them, because heaven is not like some other place. Heaven is going to look and feel very much like this, because here's a secret. It's here. Heaven's going to be here. What? So there's going to be animals and there's going to be all that stuff. Are you going to have Fluffy? Like, I don't know. Is your pet rat gonna? I don't know. There is no answer to that. I like to think that the animals that have gone before me, and then my two amazing dogs that are sitting out there, like, I want to live forever with them. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. There will be animals in heaven. Yes. Are they going to be your pets? Are they going to be Luna and Maggie out there? I don't know. I hope so. But I think at a certain point, we're not going to really care. And when we see Jesus, we're not going to care. Steve asks, how'd you say goodbye to her? Your guinea pig.
I had a private funeral.
Did you? Did you bury her?
No.
Did you flush her?
I did not bury her. Yes.
You flushed her? Or
no,
I put her in the trash?
No, I did not. No, I put her in the trash. I put her in a box and I put her in the trash.
I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, it's okay. Them's the breaks.
Them are definitely the breaks. All right. Well, on that bummer of a note.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh no, I didn't want you to. I didn't want.
Somebody give me like a fun question here. Also, I don't know why my oh, that's funny. Let's end on like a better note here.
Yeah.
So.
I agree.
Somebody give me like a fun question. This is a little awkward. Let's try. If you had to be a rat, what's your next pet gonna be? That's a good question from Steve Tamayo in the chat. What's your next pet gonna be? Dog.
My next pet. You see, I want to say a dog. Part of me wants like a really lovable cat.
The cats are fine.
You had a cat before, Andrew.
I had lots of cats. Andrew.
You had a
call
cat.
Me Andrew?
Yeah. It slipped. I've never called you that before in my life, but
Huh.
I think it was because I looked at something with the church credit card today, and that's
Sure.
what it says on it.
Yeah, it says Andrew S. Mage on it. Yeah. Why does Matthew have 6 toes? Because he's a mutant. Because he got shocked in the X-Men laboratory. That's why. What's my next car? We already bought it for my daughter. A lovable cat, also known as a dog, right? Absolutely. Yeah. Do you prefer Christopher Lloyd in The Mandalorian or Christopher Lloyd man in The DeLorean? Oh, that is a great question.
Oh, that's a good question.
Can we give spoilers? I don't know if we can give spoilers.
I don't care.
I prefer Christopher Lloyd man in The DeLorean. Ariel, what about you? Austin, what about you?
I like In the DeLorean. Back to the Future is a classic.
All of the Back to the Futures, even the third one, which is kind of weak. It ended cool, but the third one was kind of weak. But
it's still it's great.
Yeah, he's kind of old. That was like the thing that struck me when I saw him in The Mandalorian. Like they do the establishing shot into the thing. They into the control thing. They turn and it's this really super old man with like liver spots on the back of his head, and he turns. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's Christopher Lloyd. That dude can. Ariel says Back to the Future as well. That dude can barely stand up. Like when he was walking, he looked like a penguin. Like, oh, it just hurt to watch him.
I've been seeing all the memes about it. It's great. I got sent like 3 this morning by different people.
I mean, good for him. He's got to be 107 years old, but like,
great, dude.
Yeah, whatever. All right, we're gonna close up shop here. Thanks so much everybody for joining us tonight on this Q&A. We're gonna do this again. We love these times. Austin, any last words before we rip out of here?
No, great chatting with you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are the best.
Austin, cats are easier if you go away. Litter box versus having to go outside if you are away for a whole day. We have dogs, but used to have cats also. I used to have cats. I can't have them anymore because I'm highly allergic, apparently. I was highly allergic back when I had them, and I just was an idiot and didn't care. Now we've got an entire house full of allergic people, and like we tried to have cats a number of years ago, twice, and it did not work out very well. So, yeah. We're going to get out of here. Everybody, thanks so much for joining us. Tom and crew, Dave, Connie, Rachel, Donna, Ariel was here. There was a number, like Steve Tamayo was here. There was like a million people popping in and out on Instagram. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. I'm going to hit the old finish stream button. We love you. We will see you Sunday morning. Goodbye.